Worry has been stealing your peace for way too long. And the problem isn't necessarily the worry, it's that you're carrying things that you were never meant to carry. So let me ask you a question today. What is it that you're worried about? Is it your finances? Do you have more month than money? On the Dave Ramsey rice and beans and rice diet? Are you trying to figure out how you're going to make it? Or is it your health? Is there a symptom that is constantly bugging you and you don't know how it's going to turn out? Or is it your kids? Are you worried about their health, their safety, the choices that they're making? Or maybe you're just in a place where you're trying to make a decision. You're trying to choose whether it's A or B, and you don't want to make the wrong choice. Sometimes it's even just a hum in the background that never seems to go away, and you try to shake it, but it always stays there. And you wonder, is life supposed to be this heavy all the time? Am I supposed to feel this weight of worry and this lack of peace? So in this video, here's my promise to you. I'm going to give you a 3-part framework that's going to help you stop worry from taking your peace. And I want you to stay to the end of this video because I'm going to share something that is not only going to help impact you, but the future generations in your life and those that you're leading. So this framework does 3 simple things. Number 1, it reduces the intensity of your worry. Secondly, it helps you to take responsibility for the things that are in your control. And third, to give to God the rest of the things that you can't control. So the first part of this framework that's going to help stop worry from stealing your peace is what I like to call the reality check. Now, when worry comes into your life, it makes it feel like it's 100% going to happen all the time. So what we're going to ask in this section is, what is the likelihood that this is really going to happen? That thing that you're worried about. What is the likelihood that this thing is actually going to happen? A story that I had that kind of explains this is when I was younger, my parents told me I was going to go to the doctor's office to get a shot. And of course, what do you think I was thinking about for the next 2 weeks? I was thinking about how much the shot was going to hurt. And that's all that consumed my life for 2 weeks. I eventually get to the doctor's office and I just feel this little pinch on my arm. And I thought he was getting the needle ready or, giving me the numbing stuff. And he said, all done. And I said, what do you mean all done? He said, I just finished giving you the shot. Now, I wasted 2 weeks thinking about how much this thing was going to hurt, this thing that may or may not happen, right? And worry is like that in our lives. And what I've come to realize is that 95% of the stuff that I'm worried about never actually happens. But what does happen is I'm paying on a debt. I'm paying interest on it every single day I'm worried on a debt that may never come. And my question to you is this: how much are you worrying about things that may or may not happen in your life? So you want to ask yourself that question. What is the likelihood that this is really going to happen? And what might be easy for you is to put a percentage number on it. Like, it could be 50% likely to happen, 60% likely to happen. What this does is it takes that emotional intensity out of your worry. So that's the first step. The second step to this framework is what I like to call responsibility, the responsibility question. And that question is, what can I do about this today? What can I do about this today? Because worry paralyzes, but responsibility empowers. You see, God tells us in the Bible not to worry. It says, do not worry. It says that it's a waste of time, right? It's like a rocking chair. You're moving, but you're going nowhere. And so instead of worrying, what we can do is we can start to take responsibility for a few things that are in our control. So what can I do about this today? You might be worried about your health. That's a good example, right? You could say, well, my dad died when he was 55 of a heart attack. And so I'm just going to have the same thing happen to me. I'm going to be 55, 56, and I'm just going to die. My children are going to be with my wife, and they're going to go find somebody. See, you just go down this rabbit hole. Instead of doing that, you want to ask yourself this: what can I do about it today? Maybe you go for a walk. Maybe you change some of the foods that you're eating. Or maybe your relationship right now is on the fritz, right? And you just have resentment towards each other and you don't know how to get through it. Well, you can say, what's the actionable thing? What can you do about it today? You can have a talk. You can talk it out instead of holding it inside, right? So whatever it is that you're going through, there is something that you can do about it. And in this second step, that's what you want to do. You want to identify, what is the actionable step I can take? What can I take responsibility for today? The third part of this framework, now that you've asked what is the reality that this is going to happen, like how much do I really believe this is actually going to happen? And the responsibility question, what can I do about this today? The third thing that you want to do is you want to do what I like to call the release. This is the third part. And there's going to be some things that you can't control, right? You can't do anything about, and it's outside of your control. What do you do when you can't control something, when you feel out of control? Well, the cool thing about being a Christian and having a relationship with God is that you don't have to do life alone, right? Sometimes we are orphans by choice. We push God out, or we pretend that he's not there, or that he's not powerful enough to help us. But what we want to do now is we want to give the rest of the things that we can't control to God in prayer, right? The Bible says, worry about nothing, pray about everything. So that's what we're going to do with the leftover, right? So we're going to give it to God, and we're going to say, God, I am giving you all these things that I can't control, and I'm going to do that for the next 24 hours. Now, sometimes worry can be a day-by-day thing. Sometimes it's an hour-by-hour thing, right? But you want to give it to God. And when you decide to give all the things that you can't control to God, you don't just cast your care and keep the responsibility and try to fix it yourself. You don't give it to God and micromanage the rest. You give total control to God to deal with it however he wants, because he is the God of the universe. He knows what's best for you. He can see yesterday, today, and tomorrow, where you have a limited perspective. So it's not like this is our last option. This is our first option. We want to give it to God because he knows best, right? So you're just going to give the rest to him for the next 24 hours. And every single day that you're worried, you're going to renew that commitment. God, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to give this to you. I'm going to entrust this situation that I can't control. I'm going to open my hands and I'm going to give it to you. Now, this is powerful because this is where peace comes in, right? We reduce the emotional intensity with the reality check. And then we reduce the strength of the worry by saying, what can I do about it today? And then now what we're doing is we're inserting that peace. And the promise that I gave you in the beginning of this video was that I would show you a 3-part framework that would help you do just that. Now let's talk about something that's really, really important, especially when it comes to either your kids if you're a parent or the people that you're leading at work. Everybody is watching how you live, and they're not worried about the things that you say. They're actually watching your actions. They're saying, okay, when calamity strikes, when you get the bad news, when the phone call comes in, how are you responding to this? And if we're not careful, we are going to pass along our worry to those around us. We are going to teach our kids through osmosis to worry anytime something bad happens, right? But is that the most loving thing to do? I would say no. And I think a lot of Christian people have taken worry and love and made them synonymous. Well, if I love you, I'm going to worry about you. But the Bible is very clear that worry is not from God and that we're supposed to pray and trust instead. So what I want you to do is, as you practice this 3-part framework, I want you to be thinking, what am I teaching my kids? How am I discipling them? Do I want them to also worry in the future if something bad happens? Or do I want to help them learn to take the emotional intensity out of that worry? Do I want to teach them, instead of being caught up in fear and paralyzed, to now take action and responsibility to try to work through it? And do I want to teach them to trust God with whatever they can't control? See, for me, it's a very clear answer. I want to be able to teach my kids and those following me that worry doesn't have control in our lives, and that worry shouldn't be accepted by Christians. We shouldn't just be so quick to adopt it and say, well, worry is love. So let me ask you this question. What's one area in your life that you want to apply this framework? Remember, one action taken is better than 100 thoughts kept in. You just have to put a little action. Where are you going to practice this in your life? You know, if this content helped you, I'd love if you would subscribe, comment below, let me know how you're doing, what's helping you with this framework, or what part stood out to you, and follow for more videos. We're going to be bringing you more content on Christian lifestyle, how to follow God, glorify him, and how to live this thing out and understand what being a follower of Christ means. So God bless you guys, and I'll see you in the next video.